want to talk about Boston and Orlando.
Yeah, let's go touch on that.
Now, game one, Orlando was up big on Boston, and they allowed Boston to come back in the second half and make it a game.
Right.
Now, last night, Orlando was up big on Boston again in the first half. Kind of let it slide a little bit towards the second quarter. You know, I think Boston got close like 9 points or something prior to the half. But coming out in the third quarter, Orlando just lit them up and they just kept it moving. And I think Orlando will eventually take this series because of basically, I think Boston's beat up from that 7-game series from Chicago. Now they played pretty well game two and took Orlando out and got a pretty good game too. But I think Orlando, if Orlando gets this next game, I think it's Orlando's series in 6.
Well, I think this game is theirs to get. And see, let me bite into that a little bit too. See, in my opinion, what's going on there, Boston definitely was winded coming out of their 7-game series. They have a short bench, an even shorter rotation. Injuries are chipping the team away, and they just fought through it. It wasn't just a 7-game series. You know, there was a ton of overtime. They played probably another half a game worth of extra minutes. You know, and then they have a day's rest, and then you come back against an Orlando team who's been off for 4 or 5 days. Game 1 was Orlando's to win or lose. Game 2 is basically you cannot go down 0-2, being the winded team going into another team's gym. You can't do that. So they really, being a championship team, they know how to mentally lock in. See, their thing is not about the mentally locking in this playoffs. It's about the physical conditioning of their team because they're wearing down. I mean, they're only human, man. If you play 82 games and you're fighting for playoff position at the end of the season and you can't rest people like you want to, and then you play a long, hard series with not that many people, and now you're playing another series that's starting to look like it's going to be. I mean, it's already a 6-gamer if Boston's to win anyway. It's already a 6-gamer. So, game 2 was theirs to win. They came out with fire. They were focused. But I think game 2 took as much out of them as going overtime or 2 overtimes in game 1 because they had to win that. Because last night that fire just wasn't there. And in Orlando, on the other hand, in game 2, they really shot themselves out of it. They were really broke from 3. They wouldn't stop throwing them up. They did not feed Dwight Howard in the post. He got hardly any touches, and yesterday was an example to execution. They gave Howard the ball all through the first half. They shot like 3 3-pointers through the first half, and they fed the post. They made sure they were getting points in the paint. They made sure they were shooting free throws, and they really controlled the game from a coaching standpoint. They were executing is what I really think that they lack. The games that they lose, they just shoot too many 3-pointers. And it's hard to come back when you're off from 3. And yesterday was, a good example of following the game plan. There's no big man on their team that can really hold Dwight Howard. Kendrick and them were doing a good job being physical and powerful. But, I mean, once you hit Kendrick Perkins with 3 fouls in the second quarter, he's not going to try to body with you because he's scared of the fourth. And it becomes an emotional game. And I think Orlando really took that the way it needed to be taken last night, and they just took him to school.
Now, here's one stat that sticks out to me right now.
Mm-hmm.
Ray Allen, 33 minutes,
Yep.
3 of 13 from the field, 0 of 5 from 3-point,
Mm-hmm.
8 points. 8 points. Now, in the Chicago series, you couldn't stop D-Guy game.
Nope.
You couldn't stop Ray Allen in the Chicago series. What is Orlando doing now to Ray Allen that Chicago couldn't do?
And, the main thing from yesterday, because the first 2 games, Ray Allen was still kind of going crazy on Orlando. Mm-hmm. But yesterday, I really believe it's Courtney Lee. I think he's more athletic than the guys they had been playing in games 1 and 2. And I think that even with his face kind of banged up a little bit, I mean, Rip's been playing like that for years. But I think that his athleticism gave them energy edge and an attitude edge that they need for Ray Allen, because I don't think that Anthony Johnson's old legs can stick up with him. And I just don't think that Rafer Alston is that much of a defensive player to do that and leaves a more complete package on both ends of the floor.
Courtney Lee just has that youth about him.
Yeah, definitely. And he's confident, and he's a good offensive and defensive player. And I think he's something that they needed, and it could have helped Game 2 from getting out of control had he have been there. Nothing compensates for making baskets. I mean, that's what it all boils down to, putting the ball in the hoop. But I think that in the playoffs, it's all about matchups. And I think Courtney Lee's youth fits the what they need right now a lot better than Rayford Alston or Anthony Johnson.
And he didn't play either game 1 or game 2. Courtney Lee didn't.
No, he didn't. He was getting
coming back off his injury.
Yeah, he was getting fitted for his mask or whatever. He shot before game 2, but he did not play.
Yeah. And he played well last night. He played well last night. 11 points in 32 minutes. But the biggest thing is he only allowed. We were talking about that before. Now that's a +4 on his side.
Yep.
Because he made 11 points, but Ray Allen only got 8. I'm sorry, +3.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So that's what you want. That's what you want out of your defender. Okay, so if he doesn't score 35 points, but Ray Allen, doesn't score 35 points, then it's a wash. He did his job.
Yeah, especially when you're talking about a guy we didn't have for 2 games with a broken face, who's a just now making a name type of guy, shuts down one of the, I don't know if he's a 50 greats, but definitely one of the 100 greats, a Hall of Famer, soon to be the 3-point all-time. I mean, for him to hold him to 8 points definitely is what I think they need, because Ray Allen and Eddie House went crazy on them in game 2, and last night Eddie House started to turn it up a little bit, but it just wasn't enough.
Yeah, with Eddie House and Ray Allen both making the shots from the outside, that's what really did it. But it was just Eddie House last night. He was with 15 points last night, which I think, Ray, he's your turning point. He's Boston's turning point man right now. You bring him off the bench, he gives you that spark. He makes those 3-pointers. He gets your team down from 18 points to 9 points before the halftime.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But without Ray Allen scoring his points, Eddie House's points are for naught. You know what I mean?
Right. He's basically being Ray Allen for the night.
Exactly. And, of course, you're going to have Paul Pierce doing his thing. Rajon Rondo, with his close to a double-double again, I believe, last night, it was, I think this is going to be Orlando's series, and I think it's because of the youth movement that Orlando has. I mean, Boston, like we were saying, again, I know we reiterate the point so many times, but that series against Chicago, with an older team, Boston being an older team, kind of wore them out a little bit.
That is exactly what they are. And, we bleed piston blue, red, white, and blue out here, and that has happened to us, in these years after the championship. Teams were just beating us down in the second round, taking us these long 6-7 game series, and you go on to the Eastern Finals and you just don't have any win left. That's what was happening to us, and I was saying it would happen to them, especially as their bench was shortening, and a lot of people didn't really agree to that. But man, who I saw last night? I'm sorry to get off, but they had Tyronn Lue checked in for the Magic last night.
Did he?
I didn't know he was on their team.
I had no idea myself. You know what? I didn't even see that.
He checked in at the end of the second quarter, drove all the way down the floor in like 8 seconds, and made a jump shot at the buzzer. That was all he did for the entire game. He made one.
You know what? It actually looks like here he played 4 minutes. He went 2 for 2 and scored 5 points.
See, that was the only play I saw. I saw him cut down the court, and I was like, man, Tyronn Lue? And it was weird. I don't know. I didn't know he was there.
That's all right. Let's talk about this Denver-Dallas series.
Let's go with it.
Well, I tell you, right now, the best team in the NBA right now, and the way that they've been playing, the last half of the season and into these playoffs, well, Cleveland played well all season long.
Correct.
Denver had its ups and its downs. Chauncey Billups is doing his thing out there. When you got Melo out there helping him out, that's they're defensively, they're stifling teams defensively, and they're running away with the points. I think Denver is coming out of that West. That's going to be so hard for anybody to beat Denver out of that West spot right now.
And I'd have to agree with that. I did initially pick the Lakers, but the Denver's showing more focus and more execution right now. And I think that it's hard to judge how good they can be because they've been so loaded but so bad, like the Cowboys of basketball for the last couple of years. And Chauncey is a catalyst-type player who can pull it all together. And you just don't know the potential of those guys. I mean, each one of those guys, are great individual players, but you just can't tell. And I mean, the upside is so high. I mean, obviously the ultimate goal is the championship, and I do think that they may